أهلا ميرنا.
هلا فيك.
أهلا فوزي. أهلا رزان، كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله. أنت كيف
كويسين؟
حالك؟
شرفتونا اليوم. It's an opportunity for us to have this great conversation today about the evolution of art and heritage in modern society. So we've been discussing this for many times. Just so everyone knows, Myrna is a close friend. We share many interests. In particular, also we share the nostalgia that we have for our mothers. It's kind of what brought us together.
Absolutely.
But speaking of mothers, speaking of heritage, but this conversation today is particularly about how can we elevate the narrative that we have with heritage and culture. And what is the why do we feel like we have to water down our culture? Faouzi obviously is an icon in our region, a calligraphist, graffiti artist, calligraphist. How would you prefer to be?
Honestly, Hatem, artist will be the best way, because I know I started, with graffiti like almost more than 20 years ago. And then I think I expanded, the medium that I use. And so I do sculpture, I do installation, I do video. So I don't want to put myself in just one box. So
And fantastic cuisine too, apparently, right?
yeah, for the fun. Yeah.
When you came to Jeddah, it resonated on so many levels, and there's already a community there. But when we saw it live and in person, like really our streets and our buildings being decorated with your incredible art, that's something special. So I can't wait to kind of deep dive into that, about community, about how everything starts, basically. Razan, always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank you.
Obviously, one of your biggest fans since day one. I remember we did a great exhibition at ITRA.
Yeah.
That's where we kind of connected, and I think that you have the great voice in fashion, and you started demi couture, started the whole craftsmanship, I think, in Saudi Arabia. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having
But
me.
we'll start with Myrna. Tell us, Myrna, a little bit more about how you started, as a art consultant, as a strategist. How did that start?
First of all, thank you, Hatem, for having me. I'm very proud
Pleasure.
to be among esteemed guests. I wanted to start by saying that there's a building in Sharjah that El Cid was working on about 10 years ago. And when El Cid found out that I was pregnant with my firstborn, Noor, I think it was the 5th floor, and he wrote Mabruk Myrna.
Wow.
So
okay.
that's still there. So we go a long way back.
What a beautiful way to honor someone.
Right? Yeah. And it's still there, alhamdulillah. I started off, first of all, always wanting to read and write. I love stories so much. I love to tell them and I love to hear them. And so I've been living in Dubai. This year is year number 43. And I know I'm 46, but it doesn't show, right? Yeah. So I joined a publishing house, which has since closed, and we worked on a couple of weekly papers. One of them was a sort of Village Voice type publication that documented the early art scene in the UAE at the time. And then after that, I joined Canvas magazine, where I worked for 10 years, some of the best years of my life. And it was a big eye-opener. I did not know how much beauty there was in modern and contemporary art from our region, the Arab world, Iran and Turkey.
You pioneered this with Canvas.
Yes, the person who pioneered was Ali Khadra, who is the founder of Canvas, who El Cid also knows very well. We've
Needs
collaborated.
no introduction.
Yeah,
of course.
He is definitely a pioneer. And so I had an incredible time. I mean, so much about my time at Canvas informed and inspired me because I didn't know. After that, I left Canvas and then I joined Art Dubai. I was their director for a couple of years. And then I left and I set up my own consultancy. This is the consultancy. And so now what I do is really two main things. I do cultural strategy and I publish books. And I am forever in love with our region. And it's told me so many stories, and there are plenty more. I just want to be able to learn about them and tell them.
one of the As-Sulin books by on
Yes.
Sheikh Muhammad, which
Sheikh Zayed.
Sheikh Zayed, sorry,
Yeah.
which I think is something to be proud of. You're
Yeah.
always the modest one, kind of downplaying yourself. So need to also
Thank you.
tap
Thank you.
tap on the back for
Sheikh
that one.
Zayed was my first book with Asulin. Took 2 years of my life, but yeah, worth every second. It really was totally chance. I met Asulin. I said, I'd love to write a book for you. And they said, okay, what do you want to write about? I gave them 7 ideas. 6 were about art and culture. And the 7th was on Sheikh Zayed. And they said, we hear about this guy. We've been, working out of Paris and New York all these years, and we hear about the greatness of this man. I said, look, I don't want to tell you a story about the al-Qa'id wal-Hakim. I'm not interested. I want to tell you who he is, as a person. And so I based the text on interviews that I did with his children, his grandchildren, and people who knew him. And then I did Dubai Wonder on the city of Dubai. And now I'm doing Abu Dhabi.
Fantastic.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Someone's been busy.
Yeah.
Faouzi, how did this journey start? I know that you were doing start as graffiti, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was born and raised in France, from Tunisian parents. So around, as a teenager, I had this kind of identity crisis where in France I was not French, and in Tunisia I was not Tunisian as well, and I felt from both sides I had to pick, and so at this time I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna run into my Arabic roots, and so I started to learn how to read and write Arabic. I didn't know how to write until I was, I think, 18, and that's at this time I discovered calligraphy. But I was already into graffiti, but not in a serious way. And actually, me discovering calligraphy in France, I was amazed by it because I never seen something like that. It was so exotic to me, and it just started like that, as a kind of research of my identity and trying to understand where I was coming from. So really digging into my Tunisian roots, my Arabic roots. And the funny part is, like, the more I was going into Arabic calligraphy and my art, the more I discovered that I would never be able to do what I do if I was born in Tunis, for example, or in the Arab world, because I would never see Arabic calligraphy or the script in the way I used to see it before. So I realized that, if I was not French in a way, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So Arabic calligraphy allowed me to reconcile, my two culture, I would say, my two identity. And and I realized that, identity is not just one layer, as, I was taught back in the days. It's like many layers, and I think I'm proud of being all those layers in at every point of my life. So even today I don't define myself by my nationality. People say, like, are you French, Tunisian French? And I'm like, I think I'm the product of history, and I define myself more by the historic roots more than the geographical one. I am what I am because, like, Tunisia was a French protectorate. My dad has to go to France in '68. Anyway, so all this thing made what I am today. So, yeah.
And you've definitely made your mark so far. I think it's incredible the impact that you've also had in Saudi when you came to Jeddah and Balad. That really resonate on so many levels. And I think that also what you're doing is you're bridging cultures. This bridge is essential. I think that people need to understand and realize it. Razan, so tell us, when you're designing, and you mentioned that things have become more simple now, how do you still get to articulate local heritage in your fashion?
So I love what Myrna said about how many stories there are in the region. I come from an art background, so I studied art, and that's always been something that I wanted to do. Fashion kind of just happened by luck, but I use it as my medium for art. My embroidery is the way that I express myself, and it's always about when we design a collection, we choose a story. So we choose a title, and we start building on that title to create either a sequence of events or a mood or a feeling or an emotion, and then that embroidery creates the entire collection. So I kind of work in the opposite way that a fashion designer should work. I start with what should be the last step, which is the embroidery, and then I work towards the patterns and everything. When it should be your first step should always be pattern making and creating the cuts and the structures and all of that. So, for instance, like now, our latest collection is based mainly on pearl diving. So it's all about pearl divers and how that was one of the first jobs, the first trades in the Eastern Province where I grew up. So we're basing the entire collection on that, and that started with my husband is from Kuwait, so he likes these Bahri music. You know, the way they dance. Also, they dance like they're from the sea. They don't dance the same way we do. And I'm like, oh wait, we also do pearl diving in Saudi, and that's how the entire thing started.
Fantastic.
I wanted to
Sorry.
say, I read a quote the other day that said, weaving is how women understand the world.
It's true. Weaving is in every culture. You know that a lot of our weavers, our embroiderers, are men, but there's certain techniques that only women can do. So we have to hire certain women from certain villages to do certain techniques. Weaving, I don't believe I understand that it's a trade mainly for women, but I think it's because it's something easy to do at home. But now I feel like it's universal because you weave saf and nakhl, right? The leaves, and that wasn't just for women. It depends on what region you go
صح.
to. In if you go towards يعني الشمال في السعودية, they use الصوف to weave fabric, like to create kind of like an alpaca
Yeah.
jacket, which is our winter attire. But men do that. Women dye the
Yeah.
wool, so it's
Yeah.
really every place you go to, it's different. I think the whole idea about like weaving as a way of telling a story is mainly because so many hands go into it,
Yeah.
right? So it's a communal story. Like
Yeah, and it's meditative also.
yeah.
Actually, I bought a lot of fabric from Tunis,
Really?
which men actually work and they dye for the winter. They cover their heads with it.
Okay.
It's like a thick, I don't know, yarn kind of thing, but it's also man-made.
Probably a wool, maybe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We have something called al-kashabiyya, which is like a kind of jacket that men's wear during the winter.
I think that this whole movement of promoting local artisans is quite big, especially with Royal Highness Princess Noor Al Faisal with Art of Heritage. There's a whole movement of promoting locally made crafts, in particular artisanal. And it's just starting to take off. The trends, even contemporary trends, are starting to focus on traditional ethos. Going back to what we're discussing when it comes to art, do you think that maybe when we're promoting collaborations that are based on international art, maybe a little bit of the traditional part is being diluted?
I think less of that is happening now. Just to further from what Razan was saying, I'm seeing a lot of artists go back to their heritage. One that comes to mind is Nujud al-Sidairi, who uses a lot of fabric in her work, but she's studied architecture, so you can imagine like the way she constructs her pieces to celebrate, her profession, but also her heritage. I think I'm sensing, and this is not just across the visual art sector, but really across other sectors. Something is happening, and we are wanting to not just celebrate but assert our identities and our heritages. And I feel like there's a newfound pride, and nothing could make me happier. And really enough.
Do we still have to mimic the West in everything that we do?
No. And we never needed to either. But I think those days are. I think we're all becoming a little bit sensitive about it. Like if somebody says, "Oh, I'm, some big artist wants to come in and give a couple of workshops," we're like, "No, we can we can do our workshops." So we're becoming very sensitive about it and proud.
Of course.
So I think that's definitely coming to the fore. بالعكس, I think sometimes in some sectors there, and Razan, you can probably say more about this, they are trying to acclimatize and localize to us.
We have an edge, I feel like, as not that the West does not have culture. That's not what I mean. But our culture
Identity.
is
Yeah.
no, and it's not discovered. Any, it wasn't. There was no light that was like shining on our culture. It wasn't. We live in a global world, but for some reason, for a few years, we were trying to mimic the West, or I don't like the word mimic the West. We learn from the West, which is what we should be doing. We should learn from everyone. But now we've learned the الحرفة, the technique, and we're implementing it on our cultural beliefs, on our cultural influence, which I feel is the nicest movement that you're seeing right now. Like, and for instance, like for me, I don't design traditional clothing. I'm designing westernized clothing, but women in my demographic, my target market, don't wear necessarily traditional clothing all year long. They wear regular clothing, but there's something about it that you can tell that, oh, this girl is from Khobar. You know, like the pearl buttons, the gold threads that go into it, the kind of fabric or the texture in the fabric. So I try to, that's what differentiates me. Or why are they coming to me? You know, like why would she buy a white shirt from me rather than a white shirt from Zara or any other brand? It's because that white shirt has something that says, you know, like Khobar girl, or I don't know, something that identifies it as me. And that's what people are looking for, I feel. I was discussing with Faouzi that how people now are kind of shying away from luxury goods, like the big name brands. And he had such an interesting thing to say, where he was saying that when you buy something, you buy it for the people that make it and the amount of time that goes into it, and that's what makes luxury. And I was telling him that that's such a sophisticated way of thinking. You know, he's thinking like an artist, where even if he's buying clothes,
It's the attention to detail for me. That's what luxury is today.
yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And the work and the effort that went into it, and the community that's being built. Going back to community and the communities that you bring with your work is actually quite incredible. Number one, I would like to know, when you choose a location, how does that happen? And the impact of having an entire community for years appreciating and adorning your work. What is the first step towards making a selection, for example?
It starts with the theme, you know, what I want to speak about. It's always start like that. Then when I have a theme, I find the place. So sometimes I go to places, I just go visit. I spend like 3, 4, 5 days. Yeah, then I see if I can really make what I want to do there. And then the aesthetics of the art piece come as the third step. And then because I work with language, the fourth step is always a message. I always try to write a message that's relevant to the place where I'm doing my artwork. So I don't want to bring like Tunisian poetry, for example, in South Korea or in Brazil. So it's always making sure that, you know, I make something that people will feel connected to it. So it's always like local poetry or quote that I translate into Arabic. And then sometimes it's interesting to see that people from the place, they're not aware of, you know, like the poem that I'm bringing, or they're surprised that I found something, you know, that's so close to them. So, and that's how actually you federate and you bring people around the project, you know.
Faouzi, please, can you talk about, because these for me are the two standout ones, can you talk about the project you did in the Zabbalin area? It stand out. Okay, Anjad, I have to thank you on behalf of the Arab world, you know, for this, but also your Louis Vuitton collaboration, which was so on point.
And he never talks about it. He's
No,
very
he
humble
doesn't.
about it.
The poetry that he used, I will never forget this. Never.
Thank you.
The poetry that he used, and it was the first collaboration they do with an Arab. Okay, let alone artist, but with an Arab. Please tell.
Yeah, so that was Louis Vuitton that approached me in 2013 to do a collab with them on the Carré d'Artistes, as they call it. And so the idea for me was kind of weird, because I was like, there's a clash in this, like how a luxury brand, you know, like ask street artists, as they called me back in the days I used to call myself. And for me, I was like, no, actually, there's no clash, you know. And I was digging into this and looking for this kind of fake clash or assumed clash between words. And there's this story that I knew from the 13th century, where the Pope, he forbid any commercial relationship between the Arab world and the Christian world, you know. And actually, the Venetian people, they used to sell to Arab wood and a weapon,
And
made of
bunduk.
made
That's why we
exactly
call it bunduqiyya.
made of
Yeah.
this, and so I found this beautiful poem for a poet called Ta Mahmoud Ali, who wrote a poem about Venice called The Carnival of Venice, where he compared Venice as a mermaid, and so this is the poem that I used on the scarf. And the idea was for me on every work that I create, even if it's not on the public space, is to make sure there is a story. And for Hay Zabbalin, but I hate to call it like that.
What do we say?
Actually, me, I call it Hay Zaraib, like Manshiyat Nasr, because the people from
Zaraib.
outside, they call it Hay Zabbalin, but inside they say, "Ahna mush Zabbalin."
Oh,
Zabbal
sorry.
is
Wallah,
the
I
people.
didn't know.
No, it's, I mean,
Zaraib.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Hay Zabbalin actually is called Hay Zaraib. So the people of this place, Manshiyat Nasr in Cairo, they say the Zabbal are the people of Cairo because, so it's a community of 70,000 people who collect the garbage of Cairo, bring it to the neighborhood, and they recycle it. And they have developed the most powerful recycling system in the world. And so, because associated with garbage, like people, they totally marginalize them. So a few years ago, I just decided to do a project there. I wanted to speak about perception. And I think this place was the perfect place to speak about that. And because actually they clean in Cairo, and they say it, and they're proud of it. And so the idea was to create a piece that you can only see from the mountain in Jbal Muqattam when you're beside the church. And so it goes over like 52 facade, and you have to stand in one point to see it fully. If you step like 2 steps on the side, the shape changed a bit. And the idea was, it started as a big artistic challenge and just turned it as a beautiful human experience, and until today, I'm still in touch with the community. So I go visit them. I took my elder kids there, and it's more than the artwork. It's how you feel art bring people together, and I felt it there.
Absolutely. What was the process of creation from A to Z for that?
So it took me 1 year to plan it, and almost less than a month on site to do it with a team of. I flew 10 people with me, and we hired 10 people in the ground to help me on this. So me, I was tracing the artwork, and then we had a team who were filling up the color, and we had like 12 kind of flying lift that we hang on the rooftop, and so we have to move the lift from one building to another one. And then sometimes we had like the goats on the rooftop. They used to bite, the rope, the security rope. I got the pigs. They used to eat the sandbags that were holding the lift. Me, I was attacked by a bull actually on the 4th floor of a building.
Oh my God.
So he came on the balcony. Yeah. So look, Sarah, it's one of the most craziest projects that I've done, and one of the closest to my heart, even if all of them are like close to my heart, but this one, because of the people and because of the human experience, so yeah.
This literally takes the concept of embracing a culture to another level. I mean, you live it, you embrace it, and you celebrate it, which is really the whole, point of art and appreciation, really. So I salute you. Razan, so what about being one of the first in Saudi to start the concept of demi-couture and focusing on embroidery and really getting art down to a T? What advice do you have for the new generation that wants to pursue it, but in an environment that is not so much maybe into heritage? How can we bring it back in fashion?
I don't mean to correct you, Hatem, but I am not demi couture. Despite what people think, I know that everyone thinks that I design couture, but the core of our business is ready to wear. And the
But
idea
initially,
was,
weren't you?
No.
Really?
No,
Okay.
I would never. I'm not comfortable putting that label on a brand. I feel like you really need a lot of accreditation to be a couture.
But it seems you have that positioning already,
Yeah.
so congratulations.
So evening wear.
Again,
in
modesty
Saudi-
on overdrive.
La, evening wear in Saudi is always associated with couture because they like to customize stuff, but that's not what couture to me is something that's not wearable, and the whole idea behind the brand is to create clothing that is wearable but still artistic. So it has the character, all the characters of couture من ناحية الembroidery, الfabric, cuts, workmanship, how most of it is hand sewn, but it's not couture because it's not. We do mass produce, we do create more than one piece from each dress. We create SKUs of 200 and above.
You did something with Disney, right?
Yeah, so we've done something with Disney
Yeah.
where one of the guys here is wearing a Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse T-shirt, which is very interesting to see. Like I wanted to bring Disney back to our culture. So when they first approached us, I told them that my least favorite Disney movie, is Snow White. It scares me, like it still scares me. I don't even let my kids watch it. So I'm like, I'm gonna do a Snow White collection, and I took all the elements of Snow White, and I'm like, I'm putting Snow White in the desert. I'm bringing her to Saudi, and I just wanted to take her out of her environment. So instead of taking her as a character, or the witch, or the different like human characters in the movie, I took the mushrooms, I took the bird, the apple, the things that make you think of Snow White, and then I put them on modern clothing, something that has nothing to do with Snow White, and that was using gold thread, which is very much a cultural thing, something we use in our embroidery, and try to depict Snow White is through our eyes, like how we would see her, how I remember seeing the movie as a kid, because Disney is all about these messages, right? And these messages are usually part of every culture, every religion has these
Ingrained in our
messages.
childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really about how you understand it.
Yeah.
So that was what I wanted to do with the Disney collaboration. So we did Snow White, and then we did Little Mermaid, which is probably one of my favorite movies.
So what advice would you give any aspiring young
To find
designer?
your edge, I think. Like find what makes. I don't want to say what makes you, because you're never gonna really find that. I hope it's a journey. Probably you're gonna take your entire life finding out what makes you. But what identifies you, find your edge. Like how Faouzi found calligraphy, right, or the Arabic language. That's his edge. I feel, and that's what identifies him. But it's not. It's not the only identification of him. It's a
And how important is
representation.
cross-cultural, sorry, because you have cross-cultural collaborations.
It's
How do you
very
feel that?
important.
Why?
I think collaborations is what makes brands, especially regional brands. It gives you a sense of well, not that you necessarily need it, but it does give you a sense of validation. Like you feel like when our most recent collaboration, which was with Piaget, that it made us, well, it made me feel very happy because I was able to do art for them, which was something that I really wanted to do. But in the same time, to see that, okay, an international brand is looking at
Taking
a
local brands
regional-
more seriously?
Yeah, no, and they want to bring our community into it. In the end of the day, our community is a big part of their buying market, right?
Yeah.
So women from the GCC do create, women and men both, but they do create a large percentage of shoppers in the world. So for a house like Piaget to be like, okay, we want to engage this community, and the way to do it is to find a way to connect with artisans or local artisans.
Yes,
It's
because
nice.
who's gonna tell our story? It's us.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's us that are gonna tell our story, but also I feel like when I go back to like how important collaborations are. صح, we're telling the story, but they teach you so much because they have like the know-how. Like I learned so much about gold making, which I know nothing about making gold, and like how to carve into gold. And then
So you had the maybe explain a bit what kind of collaboration it was. It was like a wall with an installation,
So we
right?
created 2 art pieces for them. One for the Dubai Mall boutique. So it's an art piece that's in the Dubai Mall boutique. One beautiful thing about Piaget is whenever they open a boutique in a city, they like to get someone regional to create an art piece to make the boutique, part of where it is. And then we designed a larger art piece for the Riyadh boutique that's opening now towards the end of the month. And from that art piece, we took different parts that we
Arabic
later,
coffee mugs as well.
yeah, so we created for them the design on their crockery, which is the Arabic coffee mugs. We created little bags with embroidery for their jewelry to so their clients would feel this kind of connection. When they first approached me, I told them I want to embroider a watch, and they're like, "You can't do that." I'm like, "But I want to do that." Like that was what to me is I'm like, I want to embroider the strap. They're like, "But who wears embroidered watches?" I'm like, I'd wear one. I would wear an embroidered watch. You know,
It's a good start. It's a very good start, though. I think that for brands to start really taking things seriously when it comes to the actual production and manufacturing, I mean, that process would probably take you like 3 to 4 years, you know. But for you to be able to really make a stamp and start raising the bar and showing the community that this is possible, it's a great step.
But there's so much talent here,
Yeah.
and it's
There
not.
really
It's
is.
a bit. It's you wherever you look, there's something to look at. You know, like there's always someone to find or something to look at. And these international brands, you learn from them a lot of the know-how. You know, so you get that look into something else, and it opens for you opportunities. Like the cup design you said for Piaget was so successful. Alhamdulillah, everyone started asking about it, and people were calling our office. How can I buy the cups? How can I buy the cups? Now we're
It was like
collaborating.
the ultimate Ramadan gift, you know.
Now we're collaborating with a crockery brand to start Razan Alazzouni homeware. You know,
Amazing.
like
Bravo.
because it was like we never thought anyone would want a cup from us. You know, and the cup had our embroidery on it, so that was the idea behind it.
And as Faouzi was saying, it's about, you know, diversifying and showing your creativity in different elements in different ways, you know.
Yeah.
You've also kind of, you know, been quite multifaceted in expressing your craft. Tell us a bit more about how the cuisine started.
The cuisine, I mean, look, I love to cook. I left my parents' house when I was, I think, 24. I moved to the US, but we were 3 brothers and 1 sister. So I'm the younger brother, and then my sister, she's 6 years younger than me. So I was the one helping my mom, you know, when we had guests at home in the kitchen. And I think she feed this love for cooking, you know. I mean, I'm not a chef. I love to cook, you know. I think I good stuff. It's cool, you know. And
Is it Tunisian?
I mean, yeah, mostly Tunisian. You know,
Yummy.
I think we have a really not well-known cuisine, but super diverse. You know, from the north to the
What's
south.
a very popular dish in
Couscous, you know, the Tunisian couscous, but we have like, I don't know, like so many of, you know, like from a city to another one, it's different, you know. Us in Gabas, Fil Janoub, like my city, we have the mlokhia, you know, like, which is...
Sorry. Sorry.
Is it
Well,
the na'ma? Is it the na'ma one or
Sorry.
the
No,
na'ma one or
it's a mlokhia.
the paper?
People, they don't know the Tunisian mlokhia. And I think if they try it, they will be like, wow, I never tried mlokhia.
What's
But-
it
But
like?
is it more liquidy or is it more?
No, it's a kind of morga, you know, like we cook it over 24 hours
Okay.
with meat and garlic, so it's a special thing.
But do you blend it?
No, it's
It's like
الملوخية,
the الورق?
Yeah, الورق, like نشفوهم, then we just crush them into powder, and so this powder like is the base. We cook it with olive oil, like so. You start today to eat it tomorrow. So it's really like a long process, but it's so good. It looks like kind of black green when it's cooked, and
And you had a place in Al Quoz, right? Or,
yeah, I have a spot in like it used to be a studio back in the days when I was mostly here in Dubai, in El Sarkal. And now it's more like a kind of, it's called El Cid related, so it's more a gallery, a place where I do event when I'm here.
We need to bring that to Saturday.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
Inshallah.
And yeah, and food actually, like a few months ago, I launched this brand, you know, olive oil brand from our family farm in south of Tunisia. And the idea was to bring
What is the name of the?
It's called Tacape, Tacapae, which is the Greek name of Latin name of Gabes, the town. And the idea was to bring art in the olive oil world. So it's really a family business, you know, with my dad, my brothers, sisters. So it's really something that we built together. It's a family thing, and the idea is we produce an extra virgin premium olive oil, organic, but we sell it into like a piece of art. So each bottle is a collectible. So for the launch of the brand, I collaborated with myself, you know, so it was Tacape by El Cid. And now, like, for the next harvest, we have like 2...
If not you, then who?
No, I mean, yeah, but we have 2. I mean,
know?
every year we have another artist who gonna come and...
How do we get this?
That's amazing.
Actually, We launched it a few months ago. On Saturday, on the 5th October, we're doing an event in the studio, so like olive oil tasting, and
Okay.
so it's cool. It's fun, and the idea is like really like diversifying.
Diversifying, yeah.
Yeah, like the practice, but really bringing all the codes that you have into the art world into something that's totally different. So when you receive your bottle, you have a certificate of authenticity and everything. So it's really,
Oh,
I
well
call them
done.
collection. It's like curated. So we create artists for the bottle, but hopefully in the few years, I would love to create also olive oil. So also collaborate with other, same as you mentioned about the collaboration, bringing other olive oils, not necessarily from Tunisia, but put them in our bottle. So,
An extension of your creativity, not just visually, but also through taste.
yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot of nostalgia with it, appreciation for being at home, appreciation
Yeah.
for our own culture. This is, music to all our ethos'
Yeah.
ears, and amazing. Myrna, someone who was really kind of involved in allocating artists and curating artists, do you think we're giving enough education about heritage?
No.
Okay.
No, absolutely not. No. And this is a big problem that we have had for many
Besides Faouzi,
years.
of course.
I mean, Faouzi gives a voice for sure in like, multiple efforts and, diversities, but no, Hatem, we have a problem.
How can we
I'll
further it?
tell you, this is like, you're scratching on a rash now. I'm very, very, sensitive about this. And I think I fundamentally believe that the responsibility is on all of us.
True.
I have my daughter Noor, who is 9, and my son Khalid is almost 4. And we speak to them exclusively in Arabic at home. But they don't answer us in Arabic. They're fluent, okay? Fluent in English. They understand everything we're saying in Arabic, but they don't answer me in Arabic. And when we were younger, my parents refused to answer us if we didn't ask or say something in Arabic. Today, we're hopeful if they understand. That's not enough, okay? I understand that we live in a multicultural city like Dubai, and more, other parts of the region, specifically the Gulf, are becoming more, globalized, multicultural. But language is our identity, number one. Number two, Noor goes to school, and really it's not because I am her mother. Well, actually, yes, it is because I'm her mother. If I was not Noor's mother, Noor would not know Kulthum, Hassan Sharif, Salwa Rawda Sh'er, Mo Salah. Well, actually, she might know Mo Salah, but they wouldn't know. But Noor does know Frida Kahlo and Ella Fitzgerald and Nelson Mandela. So I think the problem is also from the school system. It's not just at home. It's also at the school level. Why is my daughter at a school in the UAE not being taught first Emirati artists, and then Arab artists, and then the Picassos and the Kahlos of the world? So I think the problem is twofold. It's first of all us, and second, the curriculum. Let's just say that.
But don't you feel like people like Faouzi or Razan tapping into tradition, tapping into elements, forget the language, elements that mean something that are Arabic, that are
100%.
suggestive,
I am
normalizing it and making it cool, actually.
I am definitely grateful, and I salute people like Faouzi and Razan. Believe me, I'm saying it to you from my heart. I'm very grateful to you. But in all honesty, I need 10 Razans and I need 10 Fauzis.
I think there is
You
more
know?
than 10. We're like, there are lot of
And I
people.
to create more
Yeah.
noise,
How can we continue to elevate this, continue to not make it a trend or not make it, it's cool or it's happening? This is the unfortunately general consensus that I get from the West. It's like it's a trendy thing. It's not. We're here to stay.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
appreciate it. We're very passionate about it, and it reflects our identity. And if anything, I feel like international culture is starting to look at us now and seeing us, what we are doing, what we're capable of doing. And there's a whole new narrative, like you were talking earlier on. We have a different voice, a different way of looking at things. So I think that on its own is another form of education. I think language can be a little bit far-fetched at this, at this moment, but there are definitely certain elements about culture that resonate and are universal kind of symbolism that anyone would appreciate. You know? And
مظبوط.
art is something that is, it's a universal language that everyone can understand.
Yeah, I think the way to do it is, I think really, because I've thought about it and I keep thinking about it. I think we need to be doing three main things. First of all, there is power in the collective. Okay, if we all agree, then we need to band together. Okay, number one. Number two, I think we just need to keep hammering. Don't stop. Just keep, insisting on the same messaging, on the same story, and so on. And number three, I think that we need to start telling new stories that are otherwise untold, and we have so much.
Yeah.
So let's diversify with the stories, and this is, I think, what is the magic of our culture as Arabs. And I'll take Iran and Turkey, with us too. We are a culture that, storytelling is in our DNA.
Yeah.
حتى our language بقولوا قالوا شو السالفة شو آخر الأخبار حتى الحكي is storytelling. And the power of a story is that once it's told, you can't unhear it. You're not going to forget it. You're never going to forget a good story. Are you ever going to forget El Cid talking about the area that he worked on in Cairo? You're never going to forget it. And what's amazing is that there's a visual now. So you get the story, then you get the visual. خلص علقت. And you know what? You're probably going to go back home and you're probably going to tell your kids, you know what, Mama? I met a man today who does calligraphy and look what he did. He went and there was a bull who followed him and a pig. And so, there's a story. خبرية هلا مش رح تنسيها. So those are like the three things I think that we need to keep doing.
Absolutely.
And as with everything, keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Keep, celebrating it.
So the art of storytelling is here to stay.
Oh, it's not going anywhere. No. خلص بدمنا.
Faouzi, how do you see heritage, where it's going? I mean, mashallah, if you're one of the contributors, but where do you see it heading?
I think we're going toward the good direction. You see, I think from I've been practicing like seriously my art for the past 15 years, and it was for me like a statement from the beginning to say like to claim this kind of pride, about being Arab from the beginning. So I remember even on my, I think around 2009, I stopped writing, the meaning of the message, the calligraphy on the wall in English or French, and people start asking me, why don't you write why you stop doing this? And for me, it was like I felt that I was under this feeling of I needed to obviously like to make it easy for somebody to understand it, or like to accommodate in a certain way. When for me, I was like, I see Arabic script more as poetry. The calligraphy, you can understand it the same way you understand the music you enjoy music from a language that you don't understand, So I didn't want to have this kind of feeling I needed to please this hegemonic power of the West in a way, like where I need to do everything to accommodate you. So for me, it was like more a way to invite people to my culture. And that's why I started stopping putting the translation, because also I was breaking, when you see the translation of a calligraphy, you focus only on what you can read.
Yeah.
So you lose the dynamic and the poetry of it. And for me, that was a real statement from the البداية. I was like, I want to, like احنا كبرنا في فرنسا. I didn't used to speak English, and I used to sing like Michael Jackson song. I have no idea what this guy was saying. And then when you grow up, it's like, okay, Billie Jean, okay, all right, so this is not a song, so you understand, but you had no idea what he was saying, but you could enjoy it, even if you didn't understand it. And that's the power of, I think, of our culture. And I think we should create, as artists, as our people, like in the art field, in the culture field.
Universal language.
Yeah, it's a universal language, because we bring emotion, when you see a piece from Razan, she showed me what she did for Piaget, like straight, I was like, wow, this is me. It's like the craziness of the details, and as a human being, when you understand that, you're like, okay, so you appreciate it. And I think I think art doesn't need translation. We don't need to translate it. It's rich, it speaks to our emotion, and we're human. So I think that's what brings us together. but we should never feel this kind of complex of inferiority. And I think for a long time we had it, you know, and sometimes you see like this kind of rise today where people are like, no, احنا فخورين, you know, we can do it.
And we can.
Absolutely. And
ما
there's
ناقصنا شيء.
lots of living proof, you know, mashallah. Razan, what kind of advice would you give younger, I guess, what is Generation Z or
No, I don't know what generation we are now.
or Alpha, or there's Alpha.
millennium من مدري شو.
الحين صار في Alpha كمان, by the way.
خيل
Yeah.
الله.
Advice on getting into the fashion industry, especially with the new, mashallah, evolution that's happening in Saudi now. And I
support
heard you're
from the
also showcasing at the
government,
Riyadh Fashion
yeah.
Week. You know, what kind of steps are being taken now that you wish you were able to take? And what kind of advice do you
Oh my
have?
God, everything is all the steps that are being taken now. I wish I could have taken when I
Seriously.
was younger. It
Yeah.
would have, I've been doing this for 16 years now. I'm into my 16th year. It would have cut my time down to, I don't know, like I would have reached where I've reached through 5 years. Just use all the opportunities that are there, utilize them, use them, learn from everyone. And there's one thing us Arabs are always afraid to ask for help. No, ask. Just ask. You have a question, ask for help. Someone will help you. It's gonna happen. Like now the government is helping so much. They're teaching us, they're educating the public about the brands, they're educating the international community about Saudi brands. They're creating factories where you can produce your samples locally. At some point I had like carpet making
You have
and
the lab now with the Ministry of Culture.
yeah, we had to. We didn't even have the proper licensing in 2008. Yani, I was a toy store. I sold toys because I needed to get mannequins in. I sold nail polish because I needed to get dye in. Like it was now. No, you have a fashion
Council.
you
Yeah.
have
We
a
have
council.
ministries.
Yeah,
You have
absolutely.
licenses. You have everything. It's amazing.
And the Fashion Week.
Yes, and a fashion week, which is so exciting because you see so much in just 5 days. You meet so many people, and you hear so many stories even from the music for the shows. Like there's so much that goes into it, and the set design, and even
The location is incredible.
yeah, and local models as well. They source models from the region that would like to also participate.
Yeah. No, alhamdulillah, we've come a long way. I think that we've all been craving so much for so many years. I think we started at the same time, you know. I stopped, but you continued. But all the
you
things.
continued in other ways.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate
Alhamdulillah,
that.
Allah استجاب.
I'm blessed to be able to share this with my community and celebrate incredible artists and connoisseurs. So to me, this is my blessing. But I really feel like we've come full circle, and now it's the sky's the limit to how far we can get, inshallah.
Inshallah.
But thank you all for coming. I just have one last question. I know it's like the signature question that we have. So, where is authenticity to you, Myrna?
Being yourself. That's my immediate,
Okay, Faouzi?
I think I'm gonna quote you, being yourself, same as Myrna. Yeah, I think that's authenticity.
The same, being true to yourself. I'm gonna add the word
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I think that too then.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for being part of this. It
Thank
means
you,
a lot.
Hatem.
And inshallah, hope to see you all very soon.
Inshallah.
Keep rocking and inspiring and bridging.
You too.
Inshallah. Thank you for
Thank you.
having us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.